If you want to live the greatest life and maximize all of your resources and be in a position to have the greatest enjoyment today and in the future and have the greatest impact and the greatest legacy, I would encourage you to banish the word retirement from your vocabulary. Now, this is probably confusing because we're normally talking about time and money freedom. Isn't that the same thing? No, retirement is a completely different end goal. It's almost like a detour off of the path to time and money freedom that ends up becoming a dead end. And here's why. Retirement is an idea that I work and then I stop working. During my working years, I accumulate money. I build up this pile of cash. I reach the pinnacle of success. And therefore, when I get there, I'm going to take this trophy called retirement that we've all been working towards. I'm going to stop working and spend the rest of my years living off of what I produced and hoping the money doesn't run out, right? But instead, what we want to do is we want to create time and money freedom. So what's the difference? Well, time and money freedom is a position where you have income from assets, not just a pile of cash, but you have income from things like businesses and real estate, and you have these investments and business ownership that is producing your income, and that's covering your expenses of daily living. Now you're in a position of financial freedom. And financial freedom does not mean that you stop working. It does mean that you have freedom to do whatever you want with your time. But if you think of the end of your life after you achieve financial freedom as this retirement where I'm just going to step back and have all of the attention and energy of my life focused on my personal entertainment and enjoyment, you're probably going to be dissatisfied. Now, the reason is that during our work, we realize that we have this value. We have a place and a piece in society because we're giving value and improving the lives of people around us, and they're giving us dollars to certify that that value is exchanged. I mean, think about any financial transaction where you are consulting or providing a good or a service. You received compensation because that other person said, this is valuable to me. Now, if we just remove work from the equation and say, well, I'm just going to do good in the world, that's a valuable and noble objective. But at the same time, if the work is really good, it's usually going to have compensation tied to it. So we don't want to minimize the value of work, because as we do work, we're not only continuing to exercise our mind and develop our full capability, we're also developing and giving our full potential to other people. And that is then going to continue to produce an income. So while we might achieve that time frame where we no longer have to work, you're now going to want to figure out how can you best apply all the talents and resources that you have to doing the best work. Because here's the thing. You've spent your whole life accumulating this experience and knowledge and wisdom, and now you're at the position to deliver the most value. You might not actually be doing the work, but maybe now you're consulting people who are doing the work. You're in a position where your knowledge and everything that you've gained and acquired through the course of your life is giving you this tremendous wisdom to be able to impart to others along their journey. So instead of thinking about retiring as I'm no longer of use to society and culture, and I no longer need to produce an income, think about those later years of your life as how can you provide the most value to the people around you. And I guarantee that your quality of life will be better because you will be impacting and touching the lives of so many more people. In fact, when we talk to people who deal with the ultra wealthy, they're not just stepping back once they've achieved millions or billions of dollars. They're saying, how can I next up level this game? How can I figure out how to deliver even more and do an even better job and scale this even greater? Because they're exercising the capacity of their mind to continue to produce that value. If you think about yourself as a producer, not just a consumer of an income, you're not just a piece of the employment pie that you need to step out of the way to make space for younger workers, as was the idea that caused retirement to come into place in the first place in the late 1800s. Instead of that, you are valuable as a producer and a creative being. So find a way to maximize the value you give. Don't think about stepping off the scene. Instead, give even more value and watch your life flourish as a result. There's one idea I want to pull into this conversation from a book called Thou Shalt Prosper by Rabbi Daniel Lapin. And he says this: if we think about retirement as the end goal, it's kind of like in golf, thinking about the ball and hitting the ball itself as the end of the swing. But if you do that, you're going to always be veering off course and not fully maximizing the potential of that golf swing. Instead, he talks about focusing on the follow through, not the ball as the endpoint, but the follow through. Now, we want to think about maximizing our quality of life throughout our entire life. And if we think with a further out endpoint, we think about the end of our life, or we think about generations after us and the great legacy that we can leave, then retirement at age 65 almost becomes something that isn't even of importance anymore. And plus, when people retire, you see that there's more depression and more physical ailments. That's not something that we want to invite into our life because we lose purpose and value. Instead, we want to gain ground and continue gaining momentum, creating more value the longer we live, so we can leave the greatest legacy. And I promise you, your work and your life will be more meaningful and more fulfilling all the way through. Hey, I hope you liked this video. If you did, click the link in the description box below for more information. And don't forget to like this video. Share your comments, questions, and feedback in the comments section below. And don't forget to hit subscribe to our YouTube channel.